What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Twin Russell Pod. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I just recorded this and my microphone was not connected, and I'm kind of annoyed, but it's okay. Welcome in, man. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, the October 13th, 2025 episode, where we got one of the biggest moments at the end of the show with the Vision turning on Seth Rollins. And now is the Vision clear? Let's break down everything, and then we're going to get into the main event segment pretty soon. Better yet, let's just start with this, right? So I want to keep y'all here for my thoughts on this whole thing. So, this show was surrounded by the Vision, and you can tell something was up from everything, right? I didn't watch this show live. I forget it even came on at 8 in the morning. So I had to watch this show on my own time, and I finally got to it. So let's talk about it. So we get to the introduction of Monday Night Raw. This brought out the Vision, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Seth Rollins was bigging up Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, right? Calling Braun Breaker the future, calling Bronson Reed the new tribal chief, because he beat Roman Reigns, embarrassed Roman Reigns, calling Paul Heyman the GOAT, and saying no one can touch Seth Rollins. And he was telling Bronson Reed how 6 months ago he wouldn't be able to beat Roman Reigns. But with his vision, he was able to beat Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel. 6 months ago, Braun Breaker wouldn't be where he is right now. But now with Rollins' vision, he is at the top. And when Paul Heyman came to Seth Rollins, when his best friend abandoned him, he had no tribal chief, and came up with this idea. It was the best thing that Paul Heyman has ever done. So pretty much Seth Rollins was all me. It's been like that for a couple weeks, but it was really hit home during this Monday Night Raw. So we get into our opener. Dom Mysterio defending his Intercontinental Championship versus Penta. And before this matchup, we had a backstage segment where Rusev and Penta, and Rusev telling Penta that he didn't forget about the super kick that he did the week prior in the 6-man tag match with the Judgment Day, Penta, Dragon Lee, and AJ Styles. Rusev was telling him he didn't forget about that. And Adam Pearce specifically came to him and told him that whoever wins this matchup between Dom and Penta, Rusev has nets. And Penta told him zero fear. So we get up to this matchup. This is a very solid matchup. This is a theme with the entire show, really. All the matches here were very solid. Dom was like pro babyface for real from the crowd. Penta was getting a lot of cheers too, but he was getting boos here and there. Specifically when Dom went for the 619 early on in the matchup, the crowd booed when Penta moved out of the way and clotheslined Dom like AJ did to Cena at Perth at Crown Jewel. But Rusev ended up coming down there, distracting Penta. Penta hitting with the somersault over the top rope. And as all this is going on, Dom grabs his championship, Triple H Championship and the Continental Championship, grabs both of them. And he throws the Triple H Championship to the side for the ring, the person to ring the bell. They get distracted. He grabs the hammer that rings the bell, brings the hammer and the Intercontinental Championship into the ring, throws the championship to the side to distract the ref. And as Penta is back in the ring, he hits Penta in the knee with the hammer. And that puts Penta in position for Dom to hit the 619. Dom stuffs the hammer into his boot to give it more leverage for the 619. So as he ricochets off the ropes, delivers the 619 with the hammer in his boots, mind you. He hits Penta, hits him with a frog splash, and picks up the win to retain his Intercontinental Championship. Very solid match from these two. Penta and Dom has really great chemistry in this matchup, and it baffles me that Penta hasn't yet to hold championship gold. But I'm gonna get to that in a moment in WWE, right? WWE is doing a fantastic job at booking Dom. He is the future there. You booking him at the chicken shit heel, the cowardly heel, everything, all of the above. He's just getting out of these matches by the skin of his teeth. He's getting out of these matches with low blows, distracting the referee with either someone using a chair, either him what he did tonight, using the hammer, throwing the championship to the side, distracting the referee. They're booking him the correct way, how you want to book Dominic, because physically he's not in the same tier as none of the guys he's fighting, especially like Rusev. He had to cheat to beat Rusev with the low blow, right? I love all that, but I'm just getting tired of fucking seeing them. I really am. Him and the Judgment Day. He just hit the only negative about Dom is he's with the Judgment Day. And Judgment Day don't do shit. Like, they have these championship gold the entire show and don't do shit. Like, they don't defend the championship. They don't put the belts on the line. Dom will defend the championship here and there. When Roxanne and Raquel had the championship, they defended them more than anybody in the Judgment Day ever did. But I'm just tired of this notion of the Judgment Day holding all the championship gold, man, because the gold is not being seen and it's not being defended on Monday Night Raw. They better be glad that these last two shows of Monday Night Raw have been great, but these been the best two shows in a very long time. The last 2 months have been trash on Monday Night Raw. These last two shows have been very good for Monday Night Raw. But I'm just tired of the Judgment Day holding all the gold because they don't defend the titles, man. So you just having the title just fucking sit there. But now we know Rusev will face Dom next week, and I don't expect Rusev to beat Dom because the issue with Penta isn't over. Penta hit him with the super kick and a 6-man tag. Yet that wasn't the cost of the match. Penta and them still won. But Rusev came out here and provided the distraction for Dominic to win this matchup. So I expect Penta to come out there next week during Rusev and Dom's match to provide the distraction for Dom to beat Rusev yet again. It's going to combine into a bigger issue, whether it be a triple threat or whether it be Rusev versus Penta on the next week's edition of Raw after that. So we'll see, but the issue isn't over. Just want to know where Dom goes from here. Then we had Rhea Ripley versus Kairi Sane, which was a fairly good match as well. Wasn't on the same level as the Austin Rio match that we had a couple weeks ago, but this was a really, really great match between Kairi and Rhea. Rhea has great chemistry with all three women involved. Io, we know her chemistry there. That she showed her chemistry with Asuka in that match they had a couple weeks ago, and chemistry with Kairi Sane in this match as well. So this is a very good match, but Rhea wasn't going to lose this match at all. We know that with her being in Australia. But at the end of this match, the Kabuki Warriors attacked Rhea. Asuka delivered a DDT to Rhea on the announce table. Io Sky was rendered useless till they both double teamed her as well. Very good showing by both Rhea and Kairi. This issue isn't over. Whether we get one-on-one matches between all four of these women, whether it be Kairi and Io running the back or Asuka and Rhea running the back, time will tell, but this issue is not over. The main match we want to get to really is Asuka versus Io. That's the money match. And I will say this, before this match even happened, there was a backstage segment, which was very funny, for sure, with Kairi and Asuka, where Kairi goes to show Asuka the bruise that was left from the big boot from Rhea at Crown Jewel when she tagged herself in to save Asuka from eating a pin. She goes to show Asuka that bruise and says she has this bruise because she was going to save Asuka. And before she even get that sentence out, Asuka slapped the shit out of Kairi. The whole crowd was like audible from them. But Kairi and Asuka does fabulous backstage work. It's a pleasure to see them doing backstage every time with these backstage segments. So that was funny. I had to put that in there. Then we get to Bronson Reed versus Jimmy Uso. And before this match happened, we had a backstage segment with both Uso brothers. Jimmy's taping his hands up. And he says he still can't get over the fact that they are being blamed by the tribal chief for what happened at Crown Jewel. And Jay said, "You still talking about Roman, man? Maybe we should have listened to Roman. Roman gonna always look out for herself. Maybe we should do the same." And Jimmy said, "Man, that don't sound like you at all." And before Jay can even say something, he said, Nah, don't worry about it. You saying Big Jim can't take care of big head Bronson Reed? That's what it sounds like you saying. So you know what? You take care of your business, and I'm going to take care of my business. Simple as that. And the crowd enjoyed Jimmy sticking up for herself like I did. Because too many times these past couple weeks, Jimmy has been treated like the chump. Whether it's the interaction when Roman came back and saved Jay, he barely acknowledged Jimmy Uso in the ring. It was just him talking to Jay. Or when they had that backstage segment last week where Roman, Jay, and Jimmy were back there, and Jimmy and Jay was just cutting Jimmy off, talking about, "Nah, I got you," like just putting down Jimmy, like, nah, like big brother Jimmy for real. When Jimmy is the real big brother of the two, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad Jimmy stuck up for herself there. Then we get into the matchup. We knew Bronson Reed was not going to lose this matchup. You don't go from beating the tribal chief at Crown Jewel to losing to Jimmy Uso. It just don't happen. And we know out of everybody in the bit original bloodline, Jimmy Uso is the one to eat the most losses at this point. We know that. So there was no way he was going to beat Bronson Reed. And Jimmy was out there, not 100%. He had the bruised ribs or whatever the case may be from the spear he suffered at Crown Jewel through the barricade by Braun Breaker. So Bronson Reed defeated him with a tsunami. After the match, Braun Breaker came out there to celebrate with Bronson Reed. And he speared Jimmy twice. And as he was going for the charging spear again through the barricade, Jey Uso music hits, comes out there to save his brother. Man, they hold off the Bronze. But in the midst of it, Bronson Reed body splashed Jay in a corner, and you can see Jay favor his side of his body, like his ribs too. So that would play a part in the finish that we got in the main event. And you can tell at the end of this matchup, he was telling his brother off again, like, nah, see, that's why I didn't want to come out here, man. And then Jimmy was like, you want to let them jump me? And then Jay just left the ring. So Jay's heel tendencies keep popping up, which are good. I like his heel tendencies as well, but they just keep popping up. Then we get into the match with Lyra Valkyria and Bayley versus Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Very solid matchup as well. The girls, see, that's what I'm saying. The girls in the Judgment Day, they do more than the guys in the Judgment Day. Dom, he do his thing, but Finn and JD don't be doing shit. The girls in the Judgment Day they always featured in the match capacity on Monday Night Raw, and this is another feature here. The big part of this matchup is when Lyra Valkyria goes to smack Bayley in the face, and she just flipped the switch, and Bayley goes crazy on both Raquel and Roxanne. She delivers a suicide dive on both of the women, goes to pick up Roxanne, bashes her head against the announce table, throws Raquel into the barricade, knocking her out, brings Roxanne back into the ring, and hits a rose plant to pick up the win for their team. So the story in this matchup so far is Lyra learning how to control the triggers of the mentally messed up Bayley at this point. The multiple personalities of Bayley and how to trick it, right? And how to trip them multiple personalities for her favor. So that's going to probably be the story coming for the next couple months. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But shout out to Raquel and Roxanne, because we will not see them. We will see them more than once, this one time in the show. And it'll be in a later segment. So we're gonna skip toward that segment. So before the main event, they brought out Stephanie Vaquer, and she comes out there and she tells everybody she's the first woman in history to win 4 championships in a year. That is fucking crazy. Because remember, she was the NXT champion, the NXT North American champion. Then she had to relinquish the NXT North American champion, lost the NXT championship to JC Jane, and came to the main roster, won the Women's World Championship against Io Sky at WrestlePalooza, then won the Crown Jewel Championship at Crown Jewel. So Stephanie has been on a roll, but she was interrupted by Roxanne Perez, who Roxanne said it should have been her at WrestlePalooza, not Io, because she was the last person to beat Io, and she should be Women's World Champion. And Stephanie said, well, are you going to stop crying about it, or are you going to do something about it? So this going to lead to a match sometime down the line, because Roxanne says, yeah, I'll accept the match, but it's going to be on my time, not yours. So we're going to have a Roxanne versus Stephanie match for the Women's World Championship sometime soon. This leads us into the main event of the night. CM Punk versus Jey Uso versus LA Knight in the number 1 contender matchup for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I like the fact that it was a triple threat matchup. I'm not opposed to singles matches, but I think we get them so far and so often all the time. It's a breath of fresh air for me when I can see a multi-man match and it's done the right way, like this one was. This was a pay-per-view caliber triple threat match minus the pay-per-view highlights, high spots that they do in pay-per-view scenarios, right? This is a very good match where all three of these guys able to get their shit in. LA Knight had moments, Jay had moments, CM Punk had moments. The crowd was off the walls for CM Punk the loudest, but each guy got a very, very great reaction from the crowd there in Australia. One girl had a sign that said, "I waited 19 years to see CM Punk." She was very emotional. They showed it on camera about twice. So I'm pretty sure she got a picture with CM Punk somewhere so far. Somewhere in there. You'll probably see it float around social media. But very good triple threat matchup. The finish saw CM Punk hit Jey Uso with a go to sleep. And he go to sleep him so hard that he knocked Jay's gold out of his mouth. So that's a real stiff ass go to sleep, if you ask me. This finish protected LA Knight, who still has 2 victories over Seth Rollins. LA Knight didn't eat the pin, so he still has that in his cap. This is going to spell things going worse for Jay at this point with his family, because the story with Jay so far after this matchup is going to be, if he didn't come out there and help his brother, he wouldn't have got injured, and he would have been 100% for this matchup, and he possibly could have walked out the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Because he did make a point in that segment with Jimmy earlier in the show that if he didn't come out there in Paris and help Roman, he would have been 100% in the Fatal 4-Way match, and he could have won a world championship. So it's the same thing's going to play here, but you're going to see more of the dramatics when it comes to Jimmy and Jay and Roman whenever Roman returns. So look out for that story as well. Where LA Knight goes here, he still has the feather in his cap that he didn't get pinned in this matchup. So he still owed a one-on-one number 1 contender match and a one-on-one World Heavyweight Championship match, since he's the last guy to beat Seth Rollins clean. And he holds 2 victories over him. So he still has that in his cap. So LA Knight's going to go forward with that. So they're probably going to hold LA Knight for the wayside for a while, for a little minute. But he need to be featured in Monday Night Raw for sure. So now we get CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. After the conclusion of this match, the Vision came back out, and they beat up everybody. They beat up Jey Uso, beat up LA Knight, and they beat up not Seth Rollins yet. They beat up CM Punk. So as the Vision are posing over CM Punk's body, they knock CM Punk out the ring, get him out of there, and the show's about to fade to black. You see Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman posing. You don't see Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is off in the corner. And it's shot a certain way where the camera just zoomed in on those 3. You don't see Braun. And as soon as Seth goes to turn around, he eats a spear by Braun Breaker. And the crowd pops huge from this. He gets up, he gets in Bronson Reed's face and says, "Make a decision. You with me or you not?" Bronson Reed made his decision. He's chose to stick with Braun Breaker. Bronson Reed delivered a tsunami onto Seth Rollins. Braun Breaker goes to Paul Heyman, said the same thing. You with me or make a decision? Make a choice. And Seth Rollins aligns. Paul Heyman aligned himself with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. I'm going to make a separate video about this topic because I think it's going to differ a whole lot. And it may not go the way Braun Breaker expected to go without Seth Rollins being there. Because there's some things that Braun Breaker does that isn't always the brightest. And they're going to find that out sooner or later. So I hope WWE dive into that story. Another thing with this whole situation, I hope Seth Rollins isn't out for a super extended long time, because the story they can tell, the redemption arc of Seth Rollins from being a heel to becoming back a babyface, will be money. So interested to see. Let's get through this week, man. Let's get to Dynamite. Let's get to SmackDown, and let's get to Monday Night Raw next week. So, because Monday Night Raw is treating me a lot with this cliffhanger ending that they left for us, which was really good. But I'm interested to see where this goes, man. See what they got in a bucket here for this one. What this tells me is, for them to pull the trigger this quick, 6 months in, something is going on, and we got to be looking out on the horizon to see what. So I'll see you guys in the next video, man. I hope you enjoy it, man. If you made it this far, man, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. Share the video, man. I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Y'all take care. Y'all peace out.